All right, I want you to take a little bit of time and think about something that you want out of your life, okay? Go. Okay, now just think about what you wanted, right? And I want you now to go like more forward in the future and see what do you get out of it. And think about what did you really want? So what I mean is, did you want something like a giant bag of marshmallows in your living room, or like a Bugatti Veyron? Or did you want something else, like to run a marathon or to inspire other people? So I wanted to show you something. So I've been reading this book, which is written by this cool guy, Mark. It's actually the sequel to this book, if you've probably seen this one as well. It's pretty popular. And as I got to the end of the book, he talks about something really interesting. So throughout the book, he mentions that humans have two brains, two ways of thinking in a way. We have the thought and logic brain, and we have the feeling brain. And throughout most of history, people thought that we followed the thinking brain. But over time, they realized that that's not true. We actually follow the feeling brain a lot more, which is why wanting things can actually not always be the best thing for us. And let me explain. He breaks it up into two different types of what he calls freedom, okay? So he has fake freedom and real freedom, okay? Basically what he says is fake freedom is essentially, in a nutshell, it's kind of the world we live in. What I mean is, we live in a world filled with so many different choices, from different TV shows to different cars to different sodas to different restaurants. And we're taught, especially in America, that those choices are what makes us free. To have the freedom to choose is correlated directly to our freedom. But when you really break it down, does that really change our lives? Does it really matter to me if I live in Vietnam, where I can choose 3 different types of sodas, versus America, where I can choose from 77 different types of sodas, right? In reality, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm okay with what I have here. I deal with it, right? Just like we do. You know, a lot of people will say like, oh, how can America do a single payer healthcare system if we can't choose? We'll only have one choice, which is the government. We can't trust the government. And I was like, well, all right, guys, there's a bunch of different things to mention. But anyways, whatever. You have what you want. Now, he mentions something interesting. Basically, what he's saying is what we want isn't really what we want. And let me explain. So he says here, and I quote, "For example, I want a life-size bag of marshmallows in my living room. I want to buy an $8 million mansion by borrowing money I can never pay back. I want to fly to a new beach every week for the next year and live off nothing but steaks. What I want is freaking terrible." Okay? So what good are you gonna get out of that bag of marshmallows? You're probably gonna feel like an idiot after you show all your friends, right? That big mansion is great, but honestly, think about the logistics of having a house that big. It's not pleasurable. Maybe that's just me. And then the same thing, the vacation sounds nice, but once you get bored of the steaks and maybe the beach after a while, right? When we focus on what we want, we oftentimes lose track of what's actually really important to us. Our wants and desires are much different than what we actually dream or aspire to do in our lives, okay? So what he says is, the problem in the world today is we live in this world focused on giving people what they want. You have more choices, more different appointments you can make, more different options and all kinds of stuff. But we often have an issue which actually called the paradox of choice, they call it. So the paradox of choice means that when you have too many choices, you basically can't make a decision, right? When you only have 1 or 2 choices, it's very simple. Hence why Apple's so successful with having just a few phones each year instead of a bazillion different types like other companies. Now, this leads us to an issue, is if what we want isn't what we want, then what do we really want? And what's gonna make us really happy? Now, he focuses on something, and that's this, and I truly do believe what this author is saying here is that our experiences are not measured by the pleasure we have in life, but rather by the pain we are willing to endure. Okay, real freedom, and I will quote once more time from the book because this is an excellent quote. So thank you, Mark. Don't get mad at me for using your quotes. It's an awesome book. The only true form of freedom, the only ethical form of freedom, is through self-limitation. It is not the privilege of choosing everything you want in your life, but rather choosing what you will give up in your life. Okay? Now, what I love about this quote is that so often, especially in America, and I've seen it with my own eyes, is we are so focused on avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. Now, there's nothing wrong with seeking a little bit of pleasure here and there. Have a good time and enjoy yourself. But if that's all you seek, you get into addiction territory, and we go on about that. But you know what I'm saying? Now, we avoid the pain. Now, oftentimes that makes sense. You know, I'm not gonna jump off a 10-story building because I like my legs just the way they are. And that's great. But it becomes a problem when you wanna get fit, for example, and you have two choices. You can go to the gym and bust your ass and get fit, or you can dial on the phone or go to Amazon and order some pills that are gonna make you lose 5 pounds a week guaranteed, or your money back, right? We avoid the pain and the soreness of sweating and working out. So instead we take these drugs that screw something else up. Because let's be honest, you don't get in shape by taking pills. Those bodybuilders you see on TV, they don't get in shape by taking pills or just steroids. Those guys work to get to where they are. Those guys that are professional athletes, they don't just become professional athletes, they practice a lot. There's a lot of pain and a lot of sacrifice in their lives that leads them to the points that they are. Those of us that are afraid of the pain and instead only seek the pleasure are doomed to nothing but mediocrity throughout our whole lives, and I guarantee that. You do not get anywhere in life without some bumps in the road. I'll give you a personal example for me, which is my YouTube channel. Like, I could easily just give up because it doesn't seem to be going anywhere and the subscriber growth is very slow, but that cannot stop me. You need to push past that. That's a psychological pain, so to speak. Same thing with working out. I hate working out my abs, but I know I have to because I have a lot of fat on my belly, and that's that pain to go through and exercise. And then when I eat, to control how much I eat, it's painful. I want to eat more, but you can't. You need to limit yourself, because through those limitations, you're going to build yourself into the person you want to become. Remember, just by avoiding pain is not a good thing, okay? We need to sometimes embrace it, but we need to embrace it for the right reasons, right? He says it here very well in the book. He says pain is value. Pain is the thing that we can use to judge how we're doing in a way. How much pain we're willing to endure will show our strength. It's by getting into these painful situations, stepping back, recovering, we get stronger. Again, I'll use an analogy with exercising. When you exercise, you actually tear your muscles microscopically. When they rebuild themselves, they get stronger. Think about your body, and your mental well-being and your life is the same way. When you're willing to be beat down and then get back up, you're going to become stronger. That cliche quote comes up, which is like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But it's very well true, you know. When you push yourself, you get beat up, you stand back up, and you keep fighting. And through doing that over and over and over, will you grow into the person you want to become. And you can look at any successful person in history, and they've all had their own struggles, whether it was Martin Luther King Jr. being imprisoned for believing what he believed and saying how he felt about things, to the founding fathers of America fighting for what they believed was right, to famous artists not getting any recognition until they were on their deathbed. It doesn't matter, but those people all had their own pains that they went through. And at the end of the day, you got to think for yourself. Maybe what you want, what you really want from life, will take some sacrifice. And you need to decide what end goal is worth the pain to get to reach that goal. You don't want to chase a goal that the pain outweighs the benefit of reaching that goal. You see what I'm saying? What I want you to do is find something you love. And you need to realize the good and the bad of what you love, and you need to chase that. The more I do this, the more I realize I love trying to talk to people, and I'm not great at it. I know I make a lot of mistakes even when I try to edit them out. But I know I'll get better. It's with that practice and that repetition. It doesn't matter if people see the video or not, but it's that practice and that repetition for me, and that grind for me to constantly be making new content, to constantly be searching for new ideas, to constantly be inspiring myself in order to be able to inspire others, right? And that's that pain for me. That's that tough part, you know. Life is not easy, guys, and you need to go out there and you need to fight back, because that's how it is. It's always going to be a struggle, but when you persevere through it, that's when you get to where you're at. Remember, don't be a nobody, and don't suffer through mediocrity your whole life until you get to your deathbed and realize you f***ed up. Okay? You gotta go and do what you want and deal with it, and you'll get there one day. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked that. Leave a like, comment down below if you have any other ideas, and subscribe for more content. I will see you in the next one. Peace.